we're back. We're the 3Ds of Horror. I'm Toots.
Worm Boy.
Damien.
Alright, and today, in the first video we talked about Pet Sematary. Now we're going to get into Christine, directed by John Carpenter back in 1983. But first I want to take a couple minutes to talk about the passing of Tobe Hooper. If you don't know who he is the director that is responsible for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Poltergeist movie.
Even though...
No, go ahead.
Even though Steven Spielberg might have directed that movie.
Oh, Poltergeist?
Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, well...
Like, I know in the credits, Tobe Hooper's credited for directing that movie, but it really seems like a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah, like officially it was Tobe Hooper. But yeah, I think Spielberg got more of the credit than Hooper in terms of that movie.
I mean, but nonetheless, we've lost one of the horror legends.
Yeah, and another thing he directed, and I actually want to see it again, and it is a Stephen King movie, or a miniseries. It's the original Salem's Lot.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the movie. The one thing I remember from the movie is that scene where the vampire kid, is floating outside the window, and he's telling his friend to let him in. But like I said, that's really the only kind of snippet I remember from the movie. It's been years since I've seen it.
I would have to watch that one.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I love the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. His big thing was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And that's become one of the staples in horror. So just on that movie alone, like Tobe Hooper,
yeah.
We lost another genre titan.
And I think he also directed an episode of Tales from the Crypt. It was just me geeking out again on Tales from the Crypt. But yeah, I think it was the one with Whoopi Goldberg, Dead Weight. I think he directed that one. But going back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is the one he's known for, it's one of those pieces of cinema that really that redefined the horror genre. That, especially the whole slasher, like you had Halloween later, but Texas Chainsaw was the one that really kind of got into the whole slasher thing with the maniac with the chainsaw running around. Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said it was really bloody, and it really isn't to an extent. It's extremely violent, but it's not that bloody. But
rest in peace, Tobe Hooper. Hopefully, you rest in peace.
Yeah. So say hello to Gunnar Hansen. I remember he died a couple of years back. Who was another legend in the business.
The original Leatherface.
All right. So moving on to Christine. So Damien, want to do the synopsis?
Well, Christine, this is the second movie in our Stephen King review leading up to the new It coming out next week. Christine is basically like, it came out in 1983. It's based on a Stephen King novel, and it was directed by John Carpenter. So you know, just with those credentials behind this project, like, you can't go wrong. This is just like trademark Stephen King. Like, it's an animate object coming to life, like, and stalking and killing and possessed by something, possessed by the devil, possessed by a demon. You're not sure, but the short synopsis of the movie is like, Christine is a Plymouth.
1958 Plymouth Fury.
Yeah.
Beautiful car.
Yeah. And the movie opens with Christine actually being assembled in the assembly line in those old assembly line factories that they used to use to manufacture cars. And right from the get-go, the car's possessed, the car's evil, and the car kills one of the assembly line workers. So, and I love it. I love the opening. Like, it's got the Bad to the Bone in the background, the George Thorogood, and the shots that they do of the car, like how you said, Warm Boy, like beautiful car, and they do like slow panning shots, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
she looks different from any of the other cars in the assembly line. And then, you know, they fast forward some odd years later, and Christine is purchased by a high school boy who's kind of like a nerd that gets bullied a lot, played by Keith Gordon. Arnie, the
Arnie,
character of
yeah.
Arnie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I guess like love at first sight.
Yeah.
He sees her, but Christine's all beat up and you know, looks terrible by this time. And she's like parked in some old guy's like creepy driveway. But he just sees past all of that. Like, and he's like instantly in love with his car for some reason. And he buys the car and he fixes up the car himself. And you find out later in the movie that the car is kind of like, I'm not sure. They never really say clearly in the movie like what's possessing the car.
No, they don't.
No.
But the two like Arnie and the car like have this. They're like in love with each other.
They're like a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like a couple.
they're like
Yeah.
a couple. And like Arnie slowly changes throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he becomes more sinister. He gets darker. He gets like, and you're not sure if it's Christine that's changing him and that's kind of like what makes it creepy. But you know, Christine starts killing all the bullies.
Oh
that
yeah.
were- That were
Yeah.
always picking on Arnie, like kind of like it's kind of like a nerd fantasy movie. It's kind of like a high school.
A deranged nerd.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that, Damien, real quick, my favorite part was where one of the bullies that was killed. My favorite scene was where Christine's on fire and follows the bully,
Oh, buddy.
and then he burns.
The John Travolta bully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but just wanted to say that real quick.
Oh, that's a kick-ass scene.
Yeah, and I never read the novel. To Christine, I read a couple pages, and then my older brother was like, "Hey, that's my book," and he like took it away. Yeah, and I never got a chance to.
Hey,
read
maybe
it.
if you were in that movie, the car could have.
I'm not gonna
killed
have-
your brother.
I'm not gonna have a car-
And then you'll get the book.
No, I'll just buy a book.
You're-
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Buy a
have
book.
have an inanimate object run over my older brother just for a book.
But I really like I always like John Carpenter's scores that he always composed himself. Right?
Yeah, him and Alan Howarth usually. It's
Yeah.
usually one other person.
And this movie's score is another example of the way that John Carpenter always brings like intensity to his movies.
Mhm.
A lot of his, and I don't know like if it's just me, but a lot of his scores, and this one is no exception. It sounds like a heartbeat.
Hmm. Kind of.
Like The Thing is another example.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it
yeah.
kind of like
yeah,
adds
yeah.
to the intensity. Like I don't know if like it's meant to be like the audience subconsciously associates it like with a rapid heartbeat.
Mhm.
But his scores always make the movies more intense just based on the music. Like if the music wasn't there, it would this one like more than others might seem silly because it's like a car that's come alive and it's like stalking people. But with that score and with John Carpenter's directing, like those scenes where Christine's going after the bullies, like I know he put like I think he said like 300 watt bulbs in the headlights
Mhm.
of the car.
Yeah, to make him just.
Yeah.
Wow.
To blind the guys and like what you were talking about earlier, Warm Boy, like those scenes where Christine stalks and kills all the bullies, like
Yeah.
the way that John Carpenter shoots those scenes, there's a lot of like it's like trademark Carpenter, those wide, slow panning shots, and you see Christine a lot from the perspective of the bullies that she's stalking.
Yeah.
So it seems like you see her like a predator, like she's watching out in the distance, and then she makes her move like she's like a lion or something. Like, and it actually makes the car, like as silly as it sounds, it makes the car scary. Like
I was scared.
Yeah, and actually, one of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene from the movie, and those stalking scenes like of the bullies are a great scene. But my favorite is the one where after Christine gets the shit beat out of her, the entire like from the bullies, like she gets destroyed, and then that's when Arnie kind of realizes that the car is alive, and she just starts to kind of fix herself up in front of him, and then it starts like everything starts coming together, and all the dents are coming up, going away, and
I like the way that John Carpenter shot that.
Mhm.
I don't know how they did that.
He used hydraulics to like pull the car, like pull it in, like to crush itself. But then he filmed it in reverse, or he played it in reverse.
yeah,
So it looks like the car's like regenerating. And the way that they shot it, like with Arnie, it's almost like it's like the car is like giving him a striptease.
yeah, it's very
it's like erotic and it's weird because it's a fucking car.
yeah.
Like, but the way that they shot it, like Arnie's standing, because in that scene, isn't he like all pissed that he's gonna have to repair Christine?
Yeah, I think he's pissed off more at the bullies for the fact that they took a shit on her dashboard and.
But then he gets like this.
Destroyed it.
But then he gets like this message, like a telekinetic message from Christine or something. I don't know. Like he realizes like, oh, she's gonna do it for me, and then he's like standing there with like this slightly aroused, evil expression on his face.
Yeah, and then just like show me. Yeah.
Like what we were talking about earlier, you see those bright headlights come on.
Yeah.
It's like Christine's eyes. And she starts regenerating right in front of him, and he's like enjoying it like he's at a strip club or something.
yeah.
And it's a car, like
it's weird.
And now I actually do want to read the novel for sure. I mean, I've always wanted to find time to read it, but to actually kind of see if there was any imagery like that in the book, and I'm sure anybody that's read the book out there, can say in the comments, without trying not to spoil too much, even though the novel's been out for years. So, go ahead. But yeah, like I wonder if in the novel it talks about, that striptease, like that erotic portion that we saw in the movie. Yeah.
Probably more in detail.
Yeah.
And that scene that you were talking about, Homeboy, when all the bullies sneak in, because Arnie his parents won't let him keep, like, everybody is against him getting this, like,
the car, because
everybody was like, what are you, crazy?
His best friend,
and then
his parents won't let him keep the car at the house.
So he takes it to that guy.
He keeps it like
Darnell.
I love
Robert
that character.
I liked him too.
He's like, oh, well, don't think too long about it.
Yeah.
When you out on your ass, or what is it? On your fucking ass, or what is it?
Your ass.
Yeah, I like the whole, don't get smart, like just telling him off.
But I like the way John Carpenter shot that scene where all the bullies sneak in to destroy Arnie's car, to destroy Christine. Because again, it's like that. Like the guy that plays Buddy reminds me of John Travolta.
Kind of, yeah.
It reminds me of that scene, that musical number in Grease where they're all dancing on the car. Like seriously,
yeah, it looks like
because the way John Carpenter shoots it is like the angle is like to the right of Christine, and it slowly pans like to just a perfect straight shot of Christine, and as it's panning, they like almost like take the stage. Like Buddy gets on top with the sledgehammer, and then right whenever they're all in position, it stops right there at that straight shot. It's almost like it's a play, and they take the stage, and then they all just start destroying the car. Like I like the way he shot that. Like it made me think of like West Side Story or something. Like
yeah, Buddy has a very John Travolta, Grease, Vinnie Barbarino from Welcome Back, Kotter kind of look to him. The typical 80s bull. Well, I won't say typical. Actually, he was
atypical.
Well, there's a lot of like 50s imagery and music in the movie too, and Buddy kind of looks like he's like a mixture of like an 80s bully and like a 50s greaser bully. Like,
yeah, and when you mention the music, I actually do like the fact how they use the songs. For instance, when somebody's trying to get into the car, you hear the Little Richard song come on. You keep a knocking, but you can't come in now. And then when the car's getting destroyed at the end, you hear like rock and roll is here to stay, playing, just to kind of indicate that the car's not going anywhere.
Yeah, like it's gonna regenerate anyways.
And at the very end, you see that little tiny piece of metal like move after it's turned into a cube.
It's like Michael Bay stole that with Bumblebee communicating with music. He
Mhm.
stole it from Christine, from John Carpenter.
Yeah,
Cause she like communicates with music, like you said.
yeah,
The songs like make sense with the
Mhm.
emotion she's going through. Like,
yeah. And I think there was like a romantic song when the girlfriend, the one played by Alexandra Paul,
yeah.
I think her name was Lee. Uh,
Oh, at the
You know,
drive-in.
at the drive-in when she starts choking.
Isn't it the
Yeah.
"And we belong together"?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So all those
Richie
songs.
Valens.
Yeah. So all those songs like fit, those scenes.
And then when she gets really mad, like the whole cab lights up like that. Like
The
green,
flickers.
That light
Yeah.
green color. Like,
And another thing I liked about the movie was the Roberts Blossom character, who was the old man, where he, especially
the one
when
with the infamous line.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone knows what we're talking about.
yeah,
I like that scene though. Like that's kind of like the main exposition scene in the movie when
Mhm.
Arnie and his friend first show up when he buys Christine.
but I like the second one, like the second time when Dennis goes, when his
by
best friend,
himself.
yeah, and says, hey,
Oh,
what'd you do
okay.
with the
No,
car?
that's the exposition scene.
Yeah.
That's where he tells him like what actually happened with
Yeah.
his brother, right?
Yeah, with his brother, and he's just like, and how he talks about how he didn't, like, the brother didn't have a care in the world, he just loved that car, even though the car is responsible for his family dying, and then it's like, I tried to get rid of that car, of course the car came back 3 weeks later, and it's like, what do you mean 3 weeks later, and they kind of leave it at that,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it's one of those cult classics, because I think it did okay in the movie theater when it first came out, but after a while, like, everyone just started to watch it, especially when rentals were becoming available.
No, it's a fun
Mm-hmm.
it's a fun guilty pleasure horror movie, but
Yeah.
definitely a cult classic. Like I like John Carpenter made a movie with an extremely silly premise. Actually,
It is.
very sinister and scary. And I love the finale at the end. It's like because the movie's kind of a monster movie, and the finale with the bulldozer at the end versus Christine, and it's like the two monsters have like the final battle at the end, like a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, and the fact that Christine wanted revenge after Arnie died,
Yeah.
and she would stop at nothing, Of course, she gets turned into a cube at the end.
But like you said though, you see that little piece of the grill move.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
evil is here to stay. Like you can never really get rid of evil completely.
All right. So what do you guys give the movie?
I give it an A+.
A plus?
I like Christine. To me, it's at least a B plus. Like I would say B plus all the way, possibly to an A, somewhere in there. Maybe
Yeah.
like A minus.
Yeah, I give it a B plus to an A minus.
Because some of that acting is not really that good, but I think it's intentionally supposed to be over the top, like specifically
Yeah.
the Army character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So that's the review for Christine. If you haven't seen it, please do so. It is a great movie, albeit a bit questionable premise, but Stephen King just made it. He's a genius, so he just made.
And John Carpenter's directing.
Yeah, and John Carpenter also. So we're gonna be coming back with It, the miniseries.